The ultimate fish attractor. That's got your attention, hasn't it? Because it's a bold statement, but I think it's true. I don't know of any better way of attracting fish to where I'm fishing than what I'm about to show you. Because don't get me wrong, it's about catching fish, but sometimes they've got to be there, haven't they, to catch them, and attracting them into your swim is a great way to go on to obviously catching them. So let me show you what I mean by something that's really attractive. Have I got a fish hanging on the end here? Think I might have. No, I haven't. That shows that I've obviously attracted them in, but oh no, I have got a little small fish hanging on the end there. So it's a perfect opportunity for me to show you now how I would go about attracting some fish into my swim, maybe some bigger fish as well. So just sort that out, there we go. So it's all about ground bait, all right? Making your ground bait to a consistency that hangs and creates the most attraction possible. So it's about using it in a sloppy form, okay? Now, when I'm out on the bank, to do the sloppy ground bait, a big mistake a lot of people make is they try to do it in the corner of their bowl. They sort of get some water and they try to make the ground bait sloppy in the corner of their bowl, and they just leave it and it goes stodgy and it gets that crust on it. It's rubbish, it's no good, okay? You want something that's really attractive. So I get a little tub like this, a small 1 pint tub, and today I'm using Super Feeder Sweet Fish Meal ground bait, which is a great ground bait for doing this. It's a pellet based ground bait and it's got loads of smell in it with caramel and flavors, etc., and obviously from the pellets as well. And that means that when it breaks down and goes in the water, it's being that boldly attractive. So basically I just take almost like a couple of feederfuls of ground bait and just pour them into the tub like that, and then I get my water that's on my side tray and I just start adding water across to the mix and then just give it a work like this. So basically, look, you can see there it's almost ruined straight away. That's what I'm looking for. I want to get it to a point where it's like really wet and sloppy, and it just do it for like 5 or 6 seconds extra and it just starts to tacky up a little bit. Look, can you see what I mean? Now this, if we just pop a little bit down in the edge, I don't know if we'll be able to see it, but let's pop a little bit down here in the edge. You can see that milky cloud of attraction that gives off as it goes into the water, right? And that's really attractive to the fish. And it's also a way you could maybe loose feed some bait. So let's say I hadn't had a bite for ages and I really wanted to do something attractive to draw the fish in. Might get a little bit of worm like this, mix it into the sloppy ground bait so it's all wet and tacky. Get a bottom loaded feeder. You must use a feeder with the weight at the bottom. If you have a normal open feeder, this ground bait is just going to fly out on the cast. So squeeze that in there like this, and like almost like, look, as you press it in, you can see it starting to spew out the sides and come out all the rest of it. Now on impact, that's going to hit the water, and the impact of the feeder hitting the water is going to force all the ground bait out the side, and it's going to create a big milky cloud, and it's all going to fall through the layers. We've done an amazing underwater video on this on the Edge YouTube site where it shows how it works, the softer ground bait, how it comes out, what depth it comes out, how hard you need to squeeze it to get it down, etc. But by doing it like that, basically I'm doing something really attractive. So this, what I'm about to do now, is classic what I might do in a match, right? I might think to myself, do you know what, just want to try and draw some fish in. I can actually put a bait on the hook while I'm talking to you. Let's put a little piece of worm on the hook, shall we? So just going to get that there. Let's get a little piece of worm. Right, I'm going to chuck this in now. I'm not fishing out long, but what I believe is when I chuck this out, it almost makes a splat sound on the water. It doesn't make a sort of like that solid sound that a feeder normally makes. And you may notice I'm winding it straight in. That's because I believe that almost like that puffy ground bait and everything that goes around it is very attractive, but I'm going to follow it in with a fishing style feeder. So now I'm going to turn back to my normal mix. I'm going to put a tiny piece of worm in that as well. I'm just going to squeeze that in the ground bait, and this time I'm going to nip it in a bit tighter. All right, so I've nipped it in a bit tighter. So I'll put that soft one in. That's obviously going to be really attractive and draw some fish in. And then I can punch this one out. It goes in a lot solider, plop. You can actually hear it. There's nothing or barely anything coming off it. So you can imagine now there's a nice cloud in the area. Okay, it's like there's a few, it maybe is a bit of a smell, and the fish are thinking, what was that? And then your second feeder goes plop. That's another noise, they're coming in for it. So if you imagine I've been sitting here for 15-20 minutes and I've only had a couple of casts fishing for a bream, what I've done is super attractive, and it works for all different species. It'll work for carp, roach, tench, crucians, hybrid skimmers, you name it, it will work. On a commercial, even if it's not in your feeder, maybe you can do it down the edge, maybe you can pop some in with your pole pot, try putting some in your cad pot, nice and wet. If you look here now, it's already gone hard and stodgy. I couldn't use that how it is there now. That's why I have to do it as you go. So I bring that back around so it's nice and wet. But what I wouldn't want to do is leave this for any length of time now. What I want to do is I almost want to do it as and when I go. And that means that I get the best out of it and I've got the perfect consistency every time, because that really is the ultimate fish attractor.